Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault 2, and we're back out here in the garage for another Garage Gun Talk. And I'm sorry I haven't made a lot of content on this channel the past couple days. It's been pretty stressful, but also very busy around here. And as you can see, I do have a rifle here on the table. This is my North Star Arms NS15, and I have it out because I'm in the middle of filming a product review for the Trek Copper Tag Rifle Scope. And I have to take that to the range alongside a Springfield M1A and a Smith & Wesson M&P Shield 380 Easy. That's what's going to the range probably tomorrow. So I'm getting all of that packed up and ready to go. But tonight I wanted to talk about the Hearing Protection Act. And this is something I have not spoken about on this channel because I really didn't think it was going to go anywhere. And really, in retrospect, I probably should have made a video about it because I would once again prove to all of you that I know everything, that I can see the future. And the reason I never made a video about it, as it was working its way through Congress, and then inevitably you had the Legal Eagle gun channel start talking about it with their breaking news, groundbreaking, bill's going to change the Second Amendment landscape forever, all the usuals. And even the ones that typically I like, I'm not calling anyone out here saying they make bad content or they're clickbaity, but like the Four Boxes Diner and things, over time, in my opinion, he's gotten a little bit more clickbaity. Okay, I understand how the world of YouTube works and content works, but all these channels were talking about, great news, the Hearing Protection Act looks like it's going to pass. And I knew from the very start, none of it was going to pass. And that is what turns out is happening. They've stripped all the language out of the Senate bill, because they know either Republicans or Democrats aren't going to pass. I think the only thing we might get, and I'm still not holding my breath on that, is that the tax on suppressors is going to go to $0 over 200, okay? But everything else, when it comes to the paperwork, fingerprints, none of that's going to change, okay? So I guess we're going to get a little bit of something. And I do think that some people in general need to be happy about that, because at least the ball is being advanced in our direction a little bit, but it's nowhere what we want. But a lot of channels lately have been making clickbaity videos talking about the imminent repeal of parts of the NFA. And I was just kind of sitting back going, search your feelings, search your heart. You know it to be true that it's not going to happen. And I don't know why people get their hopes up, because Congress critters of both parties are going to do what they always do. And you have to realize that when we centralize so much power in Congress, you have a body of 535 people, 100 senators and 435 representatives, that know absolutely nothing about anything except getting elected. That when it comes to legislation, they're going to make lots of mistakes, not care, not understand, and I'm not blaming them. I mean, for example, if I was a U.S. representative, okay, and a bill comes across my desk that people are asking me to vote on, and it deals with, let's just say, fisheries in, the Aleutian Islands, okay, in Alaska. I'm going to be very honest with you. I don't know anything about fishing. Okay, I mean, I could have people tell me what I need to know about the bill to make a decision, but in the end, I don't know anything about fishing. I'm not in the fishing industry, and all I can do is vote what I think would be best, but it would be an uninformed vote no matter what. My constituents here in Texas would not have any stake in fisheries in Alaska, so I don't know if my vote one way or the other is going to be that informed, and most likely, based off of the nature of the way things are done, you would just kind of vote the way of your party, the way that the party whip would tell you to vote. And I feel like when it comes to hot button issues, especially like the Second Amendment, you have a lot of Republicans that claim to be pro-Second Amendment, but know nothing about suppressors, regardless of how you try to educate them or talk to people or call their offices. The only thing they know about suppressors is what they see in movies and television shows. And then they have to think to themselves, okay, my sole job is to get reelected. And they do have to think about the people that are of the other party and the other side of the aisle trying to get them to vote for you, the people in the center. And so if they vote for something that's going to be able to be used as a wedge issue in a campaign, for example, you already know the anti-gun groups would make campaigns like, Representative Jason from the Texas Gun Vault voted to legalize weapons of mass destruction and chaos and gang chaos with suppressors. He can't be trusted, and that kind of stuff, okay? And they're thinking, oh boy, I can't vote for that. I can't, even if they wanted to, they can't. And they're like, why don't we just kind of make this as less intrusive as possible, lower the tax, still regulated, they really can't, and that's going to be it. So that's why I haven't made any videos on it, because I knew it was going to go nowhere. I see this all the time, and it frustrates me in the political world that we hang our hopes on so many things. I mean, I've been in the gun world now for 15 years, I would say. I really started getting into guns probably around 2009, 2010. And I started making content around 2011, I believe. But of course, that was on my old channel. And unfortunately, I lost access to that, thanks YouTube, based off of their old rules and censorious ways. But I have seen things come and go. And ever since that time, in my little time in the gun world, I've seen the constant talk about, we're going to get this deregulated, we're going to pass this bill, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to do that. And literally, in those 15 years, nothing has happened. The only things that ever happen are very small and inconsequential, okay? So on the pro-gun side, if the tax goes down to zero, and it's small, it's something, by the way. I'm going to be happy if that actually, because I think that it can start to chip away at it. Anything that chips away at it is good, because you have to create the cracks in the foundation to destroy it. But it's nothing like we really want. When it comes to, what was it? Trump saying the attack on our Second Amendment rights are over. Well, what did he do? He gave us the bump stock ban. He opened the door for the ATF to regulate pistol braces and FRT triggers and the like. And then, of course, we're always hanging our hats on the courts. And what's happening there? Everything moves so slow. Yes, we've had NYSERPA versus Bruin in New York, but what did that really change in a majority of the states? Absolutely nothing. And in the very anti-gun states, it actually made some things worse, because then the state legislatures passed things that made, yes, they have to give you a license, but they make the entire state a no-carry state, because it's all sensitive places. And that all has to be adjudicated again. So where are the victories? And I feel like so many groups, from gun rights organizations to people that make a living on YouTube talking about gun legal stuff, they all have a vested interest in keeping you engaged, enraged, and uninformed. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just the way of the business. It's just the way it is. And I talk about engaged. Obviously they want you talking about things, because talking about things means you're going to click the videos, you're going to follow, you're going to like, you're going to comment, okay? You might also even donate money either to a gun rights organization or to some place that, let's just say like the NRA or whatever. The NRA is a nothing burger now, but you guys know what I'm talking about. And so they can sell ad revenue on their videos. Hey, and it's what we got to do here on YouTube. I totally get it, okay? But they have to keep you engaged, which in some ways is good. But they have to keep you enraged as well. They have to keep you always upset. You see, one of the interesting things that I've noticed abroad is the anti-gun groups in other countries. Now, I know that a lot of you guys do not follow the gun rights fights in like England, Germany, Australia especially, but I've noticed them. And while I'm not an expert on them, I don't follow them like every day, I am always surprised to find out that there are anti-gun groups in Australia. Now listen, I'm sure I have some Australian viewers here that can chime in the comments and tell us more about it. But we all know that pretty much Australia is the anti-gunner's dream. You have rifles, pistols, magazines, suppressors, everything is banned. You have licensing, you have registration, you have all these things that they want here in the States that they say is going to stop the epidemic of gun violence. And what do we see in Australia? We already know there's gang shootings, and I mean, they're getting the guns. The bad guys are getting the guns anyway. But did you know that there are anti-gun groups in Australia? Now, don't quote me on the name. I want to say it's like Gun Control Australia or something like that. So the question I have is, why, when you have every single gun control law you could possibly want, a virtual ban, do you still have an organization that's trying to fundraise and get money to pass more anti-gun legislation? Because the battle never stops. And I feel like a lot of these gun rights organizations, and I'm not saying that they're nefarious, I'm not saying they're evil, I'm not saying they're bad people, but it's kind of like people that maybe made a living repairing buggies before the invention of the car, when Henry Ford started making the Model T. They saw the writing on the wall that once the car takes over, they're going to be out of work. They're not going to have a job. They got to do something else. And I feel like some of these gun rights organizations are all about getting you enraged and engaged. And then just before the bills pass, they're like, well, hold on a second. Whoa. If the Hearing Protection Act passes, suppressors are deregulated. You can make them at home. There's no tax. What are we going to do here at the American Suppressor Association? Yeah, this multi-million-dollar organization that has a staff of, 50 or whatever, we're going to be irrelevant. We can't let this pass. Now, I'm not saying that they have meetings about that and they're like, openly trying to stop it. But I think that they have a vested interest in making the process go as slow as possible. But once again, I'm not calling anybody out. I'm not saying anybody's bad. You just have to ask yourself that question, like, who benefits from this? Okay? So you have weak-kneed Republicans who, I always tell you guys, they're way better than Democrats, but they're not going to be your saviors. They're not pro-gun. They're not. They're never going to vote for a pro-gun piece of legislation, and they're going to give you every excuse under the sun for why they can't. Oh, re-election, wrong time, blah, blah, blah. And then you have the people that make money off of this, okay? And I'm not, as I said, I'm not blaming the American Suppressor Association or any silencer company. I'm already seeing some shade being thrown at silencer companies right now, that people are saying that, oh, they stopped the bill from passing or had lobbyists or whatever. I don't know anything about that, okay? But I do feel like their interest is, we want this to happen, but we need it to go as slow as humanly possible because we don't want the well to dry up. Think about it, okay? The organizations that help people fill out the NFA paperwork to acquire suppressors, which is a huge market, overnight, all of the capital that has been invested in fingerprint machines, kiosks, all of the website maintenance, the traffic, all of the advertisers, all of the things that they do would be gone. That's it. You can just walk into a gun store and just get the suppressor you want, no question. It's just an accessory. Or if you wanted to, just make it at home. You're going to see a lot of people lose their jobs. They're going to become irrelevant overnight. And I think a lot of those people are like, I really don't want this to pass. I say the same thing about machine guns. I've talked to some people that have massive collections, people that own machine guns, transferables. And some of these civilian transferable machine guns go up to $40, $50, $60, to even $100,000. So let me ask you, these people that have hundreds of thousands of dollars in their collections, do you think they're going to be for the repeal of the Hughes Amendment? I don't think they are. There is a huge industry that is built around transferable machine guns. You have the auction, businesses. You have the people that do consignment. You have the people that are, I said, just wealthy collectors that form organizations. There's one that maybe a lot of you guys have not heard of, and it's been around for a while. They're not like super engaging when it comes to the public. I think it's the National Firearms Act owners, and anyway, NFA. Anyway, it's like an NFA collectors organization, and they primarily focus on machine guns. And they do have a lot of capital because the members of this organization are the people that really invest in transferable machine guns. And I promise you, they would have lobbyists telling Congress, do not pass a repeal, because if the repeal of the Hughes Amendment ever happened, their valuation and their collections is going to collapse overnight. They're always going to be valuable to some extent because they're classic machine guns. But instead of spending $10,000 on an old rickety, Mac 10 from the 80s, which is like an entry-level machine gun, people would then be able to go out and get one for $1,000, brand new. So their old piece of junk that they've been trying to keep going for a while becomes worthless. So they have a vested interest. So people that claim to care about gun rights really don't, because the bottom dollar will be hurt. And so I feel like there's a whole industry that's built up around this, and they will not let it go. As I said, are there bad guys in this story? I don't think so. I don't think the people that are trying to get the repeal are secretly getting all the way up to the finish line and be going, okay, let's back off. But I do feel like there's a awareness of it. And that's what we see. And so anytime I hear this stuff is about to pass, I'm like, it ain't going to pass. And even if it was looking like it was going to pass, you're going to see another congressional baseball event. Just before the last time the Hearing Protection Act was going to pass in the House of Representatives, what happened? Yeah, you had the congressional baseball shooting, right? Magically on the same day in the morning. So you know as well as I do, something would happen. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. That's just the way it always happens. So I feel sorry for a lot of you. They get all hyped up. Oh my God, this is going to happen. Trump's going to do this. He's going to repeal this. Congress is going to repeal this. They're going to pass this pro-gun bill. The Supreme Court's going to take up an assault weapons ban case. Why do you get yourself all hyped up every day just to be let down day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year? Now, could the Supreme Court take up a assault weapons ban case? Maybe. If you watch the Four Boxes Diner, you hear all this analysis of, yeah, they're doing this. They've relisted this case so many times. But at the end of this term, when the slate is wiped clean, I guarantee you they're not going to take anything up. Now, listen, I hope that I'm wrong. I truly hope that I'm wrong. But we all know it's not going to happen. I'm not doom and gloom on this. I'm just a realist. The people that live in the world of shall not be infringed, the Second Amendment is absolute. Well, I agree with you. But that's not the world we live in, and it's not the world you're going to get to anytime soon. Not in our lifetimes. I guarantee you, everybody that's watching this video right now, from the oldest person to the youngest person, will go to their graves with the NFA still intact, and they're going to go to their graves with most of the anti-gun legislation that's currently on the books. We might not have much more, but it's not going to change because it is so ingrained in our legal culture, it is so ingrained in our social culture that I think it's been lost without a great legal reset. That's just my opinion. I hope that I'm wrong. I hope that I wake up tomorrow and the Supreme Court in their next conference takes up an assault weapons ban case. I hope that Congress changes their mind and takes suppressors off the NFA. I hope. Is there a chance? Yes, there is. But I put the chance so small it's not going to happen. Stop letting people and influencers get your hopes up because you're only going to be disappointed. So that's all I have to say about the Hearing Protection Act, I guess of 2025, and my thoughts on it. I'm sorry, I'm not as optimistic as the other scholars and the other YouTubers out there that tell you, hold on to your hats, here it comes, breaking news, groundbreaking, because I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to tell you how it is and be a realist and just tell you what the world actually is going to bring you. So there you go. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. And if the, well, let's see here. What can I use as the word of the day? I was going to say if the Hearing Protection Act passes, I hope that you guys will tell me how wrong I was. But I know it's not. But for the word of the day, let's use the word silencer. Silencer is the word of the day, obviously, because we're talking about the Hearing Protection Act and deregulating silencers from the NFA. So once again, let me know if there's any questions, comments, concerns in the comment section below. Thank you for joining me here in the garage, and I look forward to our dialogue. And, as always, thanks for watching.